Catflap Chats. We are back once again. This is episode 76. And just before we get into it, just a quick housekeeping. Catflapchats.com is where you'll find all of our back catalogue and our amazing sponsors. And we've got some merch, some hats and stuff like that. There's more coming, so check it out. But more importantly, for this month, I'm doing 1,000 miles in May cycling. So every day, that's 52K. I think it's 1,610 kilometers across the month of May. So head over to @CatFlapChats for our Instagram and our Twitter, where you'll be able to see our, my daily progress of where I'm failing and absolutely miserable as sin, sat on a watt bike for 90 minutes to 2 hours at a time. But enough about that. Head over if you can donate. That'd be amazing. It's for Velindre Cancer Care, which is in South Wales. Morgan Stoddart, who was on here before, he played for Wales fullback. He had testicular cancer, and he started this to say thank you and raise a bit of money. So if anyone's listening, they want to donate, head over to @CatFlapChats. You'll find the link in our bio, and every little penny will be gratefully received. So thank you very much. Enough about that. I'm excited today because I've got a fellow Plymothian on the podcast. Don't see many of them very often. Only our second golfer we've had as well, first male golfer. So I'm excited to see where this one goes. Leon Fricker, how are you doing, pal? Thanks for coming on.
Very well, thank you. It's pretty miserable outside here in Plymouth today, so it's a good day to do a podcast.
Good man. Are you under the stairs there or something? You like Harry Potter's little bedroom?
Just there, yeah. I feel like it's quite tall ceilings, but yeah, I've got my little room here.
Class, love that. Hey, thanks for coming on, mate. What's so for people who don't know, you're on the PGA EuroPro tour, is that right?
Yeah, just on the EuroPro tour right now this year. Qualified at the end of last year with COVID and everything. I've normally tended to stay. I enjoy traveling, so I've played in America. The year before last was playing on PGA Tour China, and with COVID and everything happening last year, just wanted to make sure I had somewhere to play in England. So the EuroPro tour, and that season's about to start really.
So what's keeping you up, mate? What's keeping you busy? How has the last year been with COVID? Because everyone, knows golf at the top end. Do they see the Masters, which was on recently, and your Rory McIlroys and Shane Lowry's and people like that?
Yeah.
At the not the bottom end, but the other end of that professional game, where you're working through the ranks, and you turned pro in 2017? Is that right?
Yeah.
What's life like, and what's the last year been like for a golfer who doesn't have all the sponsors and all the cash being thrown at them and lives that lifestyle? Like, what's it been like?
It's a little different, honestly. I've been pretty much flat out all through my junior years up into college. Went to America, and it was the first bit of time that I really had off.
Okay.
So I was in Spain when COVID hit. I was playing over there and had to get a flight home, emergency flight home last, the last ones that they were letting in. And it was, I mean, you know how it is in Plymouth. We've got the moors on one side, we've got the sea on the other. So it was really, really nice. All things considered, we were able to get outside for most of it, and explore what we have down here. So it was a lot of fun. Very different. Didn't get to touch my clubs very often, obviously. But then it was really cool because the Clutch Pro Tour and some mini tours, they were able to put events on. So that was huge for me. So was able to pretty much play a decent amount of golf throughout lockdown on the Clutch Pro, the Jamaica Tour, and stay pretty sharp. And then obviously the Q School went ahead for EuroPro and was able to play on that and get my card. So it was very different. Did a lot of fitness. Took my health more seriously, and it was nice to have a little break. But I missed competing. I missed traveling. It's the longest I've ever been in England since I moved away to America, really. So it's been different, but also very nice.
I suppose the weather was banging last summer, so actually Plymouth, for all of its faults at times when I was growing up, it's actually a lush place to spend the summer.
When the weather's good, it's the best place in the world, I think, honestly.
Yeah, it is class.
It's gorgeous, you know. It's the Barbican was banging when we were allowed out, but
yeah. I remember that, pal, back in this is how old I am. So I'm 35, I am. So it would have been like 2002 to 2004.
Yeah.
I was going when I was like 16 to 18, like Destinies back then. I think Millennium might have still been around right on Union Street.
Yeah.
And it was like £10 on a Friday. All you can drink, you get given a bottle, and you just keep replacing the bottle at the bar. And I was underage. And that's probably why it's closed down. That and a load of drugs were being taken in there, which was wild. Yeah. And people would be having scraps about the bottles, mate, because you'd lose your bottle and then there'd be one on the floor and you'd be like, I'm having that. Like, fuck it, mate, it'd be berserk in there. Like, good times. I loved it. Like, Dartmoor is unbelievable.
Yeah. No, I remember going to Destiny's under 18s night when I was 14.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually also remember just going to when Oceana opened up. Me and Henry going around we'd have our Red Bull or water, and we'd just be walking around there like thinking we're cool as fuck. But nah, it's
I'm pretty sure Henry got on my cousin. Actually, she's a good-looking girl down there.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, he's settled now, isn't he? I don't know him, but I heard a couple of stories.
No, he's settled down. He's got a great girl, got a beautiful kid. So he's settled and happy as can be now. Obviously,
class.
Yeah.
Well, good, mate. What was so like? I should say, actually, you know, you're on today, obviously, as part of your relationship with 4-5 CBD, and like we were saying off pod, you know, Dom and George have been on before. I've literally just got a box delivered today. For the peppermint one, so your big thanks to them for obviously hooking us up with the chat today. Like, how have they been? Like, what's going on with them, and what you're doing for them, and how do you find it all?
Oh, they've been awesome. I think they got in touch with me. I think initially it was maybe because they saw the link between rugby and golf, and just the people that I knew, and how it would be quite a good fit. And then I actually met I met Don at an event last year, towards the end of last year, and the relationship ever since has just been sound. We're very similar people. I love what they're trying to do, and I think I'm honoured to be a part of it, because just to have some support from any company is huge, and to have it from such a good brand like that, and a brand that I really align with. I think CBD's an awesome product that should be taken across the board. So it was great to be a part of that and to be recognised for that. And I mean, they're trying to just. I mean, with golf, we're a one-man team essentially, and we're in charge of who we kind of let in and who we associate with, and it was just a great fit because, you know, they're trying to help promote me. They're trying to help me out off the course as well. With the 4-5 program and the group of athletes that they've got. Yeah, they have some really big names that really don't need help because they've got their team around them that are there to promote them and help them and get them what they need. And then there's some athletes in singular sports where we don't necessarily have as much help and support and a team around us. So they've been awesome on that front, because I've needed some of their expertise when it comes to marketing, when it comes to, you know, just little things like trying to find a physio that can help me week in, week out as well. And it's you know, it's been awesome to have their expertise and their experience behind me. So
yeah, a couple of good guys. There's not much they haven't done in sport, you know, especially in rugby. And you know, Dom's obviously working on the business full time as well. So I have weekly conversations with him, mate. He's ringing me up like, what's this, what's that, what should we do here, what do you reckon? Because my background's like commercial, marketing and advertising for radio and other bits. So they're doing class. I love them, to be fair. Like, and it's real nice brand as well. Like,
I mean, it's class. I mean, the fact that they've just finished their careers. I mean, George is still playing, but
yeah,
I mean, they've just finished and they're cracking straight onto this, and it's huge. It's blown up, and the way that they've gone about it is absolutely right. I mean, they're legends. It's great. It's great to see what they're doing.
Good lads on the piss as well. To be fair, they're.
I'm sure they are.
So if you're anything like that, mate, when I'm next down in Plymouth, we'll grab a couple of pints as well, and we'll
we'll have a shandy. We'll have a shandy for sure.
Get back up on the Barbican boy. What was growing up like in Plymouth for you? Like, and why golf then? How did that come about? Like, I know you went to America and played out there, like in university, which looked pretty cool, to be fair. Like, what was that journey like? Because not all your mates, but a lot of your mates are rugby and with the Chiefs. And how come you went a different way? What was that journey like?
I don't know. Nah. Look, I grew up in Ivybridge, and we grew up 100 yards away from Henry. We were thick as thieves when we were growing up, and still are. But, you know, we just I played all sports across the board. Went to Plymouth College prep school up until
well, they used to be our enemy, mate.
11, I think.
Yeah.
And played football for Plymouth Argyle up until I was under 14s. Played rugby high level as well, and I saw Tiger Woods growing up, and I saw, you know, not the fact he's a black man. He was making golf super cool. He was making it athletic. He's traveling around the world, which is quite key for me. I love being able to travel and explore and see the world, and I really wanted to be able to do that for a long period of time, for a long career. And, you know, I love being a part of a team. There's something really special about being part of a team. But I think with golf, I just found it's so much harder as a sport than a lot of, like, it covers a lot. It's a lot more than just, I don't know. With rugby and football, I just felt like it was, if I had a good game and everyone else had shit game, then we'd lose, and I just didn't like that. You know, and I didn't like the fact that a coach could decide whether I was good enough to be in the team or not. I just think with golf, it's you shoot what you shoot, and that's what you shoot. That's your score for the day, and it's all on you, really. We're at a stage now where we've got, you know, we're starting to get into like having a caddy, and it's nice to kind of have a team aspect to it as well. I'm really enjoying that, because that's the biggest thing I miss about them sports, rugby and football, is the boys. I miss having a team around me, the team environment to pick you up when you're having lows, and to really enjoy it when you're having the highs. And it's just different. It's very different. But you know, I think Tiger Woods was the reason I chose golf for sure. The fact that you can travel and make a shit ton of money at the end of the day playing the game and traveling around the world week in, week out. It just sounded like a dream to me. So that's why I chose golf. Did you have it as a game, like obviously on the PlayStation or whatever? I never really played games. I never really played it. I would. The only time I'd play was going up to Henry's. I'd play Joe and Lomu rugby and and like Need for Speed Underground and stuff like that. But I was awful, mate. I was awful. Henry, he waxes me every time. But I think because I was crap at it, I just didn't really get into it. And like there's some real good golf clubs down there. We were talking off just before the pod there about, I played was it China Fleet and St Melian, and I can't remember the other one I mentioned now. What did you say? You said that was Traverse, was it? No, it was China Fleet is Salt Ash, isn't it? And you got St Melian between, and the one up at Derriford. Staden Heights. No. You said it earlier now. I can't remember. China Fleet's the only other one that you were talking about, or Yelverton. Yeah, I can't remember now, mate. Whatever, doesn't matter. But like, they're nice courses. Yeah. And like, you know, I didn't really play golf a lot because I was more football and rugby, and I liked that team aspect. But also, I wasn't the best player, so actually being in decent teams helped me. Yeah. And you know, my dad was away a lot, so I couldn't always get to like
the golf course and go and play golf. Where, you know, with the football and rugby, I suppose I went with my mates, and you just travel all over, don't you? Like, when did it stop? When did it stop, like, becoming a hobby for you and becoming more like, this is the route I'm going down career-wise? Because in school, you know, whenever you go to a careers advisor and you say, I'm going to be a golfer, 99% of the time they would go, yeah, but what's your real job going to be?
Yeah. I remember there was two instances that really stick out in my mind. The first one was, Christ, it was in year 6, because I had a conflict of interest with my school rugby team, because rugby and football, for when I was playing for Argyle, rugby and football fell on the same day, on a Sunday. That was game day.
Yeah.
And I remember having to go to training on a Thursday for Argyle. And my teacher at school then didn't pick me to go ahead and play in like some rugby event, which really got to me, because I was very good. I was in the team, without a doubt, and that frustrated me. And that's when I actually went and played football and turned my attention to football, mainly. And then I realised that I didn't really enjoy football players. I thought they were, well, the guys I was playing with anyway, I thought some of them were wankers. A lot of them were great, but some of them I didn't really get on with. So I then sacked that off again and went back to rugby when I was 15. And you know, played for 2 years, and then I got into the Southwest squad for golf. And my dad sat me down and had that conversation with me, and it was dreadful. Just having to give up like that sport, because I always thought that I was going to be able to play every sport, like cricket in the summer, cricket and golf in the summer, rugby and football in the winter. But obviously you can't do that when you get older. So it broke me. But chose golf at about 16, and I realized that was the route that I was going to take. And the route was to go to America. That was like my dream, to go and have the American experience and try and, you know, do the American Pie kind of live that movie in real life kind of thing.
And you, so like, for people who don't know, Ivy Bridge is actually quite a big rugby hotspot. Like in Plymouth, you've obviously, it's between the Chiefs and Plymouth Albion, but it's like we were saying before, it's a big rugby club. You know, a lot of good players have come from that club now, so it's quite a big decision to turn your back on that, especially when it's all your mates and all the camaraderie. And like at 16, I'm sure
I played for Devonport Services.
Did you?
Yeah, so my dad was in the Navy. Both my parents were in the Navy, and I think that link just kind of pushed me towards playing at Devonport, and my dad just took me to Devonport. So I used to love just like ribbing all the boys, because we always beat Ivy Bridge.
Oh mate, this takes me back, pal. Like, we used to hate Devonport Service. I'd hate Exeter, and I'd hate Newton Abbott, and I'd hate Devonport Services. But my mum was in the Navy. It was that Mike Lewis and Matty Yanstis.
Mike Lewis, yeah.
Yeah, so they're my age. Like, they're the guys that I grew up, like, we played for Devon with Mike, and he obviously went on to play for Albion. Like, he was real good, Mike. He was the best in our year.
Yeah.
But yeah, fuck, you know, that takes me back, mate.
Yeah, it was class. It was class. I used to really enjoy running. Well, I was very fast, so I used to enjoy running around the boys and making stupid faces to them. And we always found a way to be friends. We were always friends straight after. We played for the same school team, so it was always sound. But just during the game, it was pretty intense. It was pretty intense.
Yeah, I can imagine.
For 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds, it was ruthless, but a lot of fun.
I miss them days. Like, I wish sport now was a bit more like that. I feel like,
for sure,
the way sports become a business, which is great in so many aspects, but I do miss that amateur tear each other up on the pitch, tear each other up in the bar then as well type thing, where it's, you know, you're all friends after, and there was no like camera phones back then. When I was growing up, anyway. I mean, like I said, I'm older than you.
It's interesting because, like, one of my best friends, he actually he's a coach for Argyle in the youth development, and you know, whenever we've gone and watched games, you see the kids these days, and they don't have the same like level of intensity that we used to have. Like they're just as skillful, if not more, like, because the game's developed so much and the way that they coach is developed so much. So they're a lot better in a lot of ways, but that like nasty inner drive that I think we used to have when we were kids, just because I think our parents probably instilled a bit more nastiness in us. I don't know, maybe it's just my my own
I completely agree with you, mate. Completely agree with you. Like, don't let a bully get on top of you. If someone's bullying you, my mum was like, if there's a couple of them, kick them in the bollocks, fucking let them have it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, you wouldn't just like nowadays. I do feel like it's a softer generation coming through,
for sure.
But now they turn to like, you know, knife crime and stuff like that, which is cowardly. Like,
yeah, or just online bullying. You know, online.
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
It's like we used to sort problems out face to face because that was when we saw each other, and then it'd be squashed 10 minutes later. But now it's all carried on social media, and it's it's not cool. And you know, it was weird because when I went and lived in America, it was kind of like here, if like you said, if you had a problem with someone, you go and have a fight, and it would be sorted. Over there, you're scared of having a gun pulled out on you.
Yeah.
You know, and even at my college, there was a few shootings on campus, and there was people killed at parties because there was a fight that got let loose, and then someone came back with a gun, and it's like, it was really eye-opening. I was coming from Devon, from Plymouth. It's one of the safest places in the world. Going over there, and you're just like, oh wow, like this is real.
Fuck. So when you went to Daytona, didn't you, in Florida? Is that right?
Yeah, I was in Daytona Beach. Yeah.
But what's that like? Because that's a big decision to make as a kid. When, you know, I know at 16 to 18, we all think, you know, we're men and we know the world and we can do what we want. But that is a huge decision to move away and not be with your mates and go and have to form a new, not just career, but new set of friends and all that. Like, what was that whole experience like?
I think my dad kind of prepared me for it, because I in my final, what was it, in year 12 at Ivy Bridge, I jimmied one of my exams, and I got found out and was either going to get put back a year or had to move away. So I moved to Bristol, and I went to Fulton College because they had a golf school there. I went there, did my BTEC, did my this ACE program, and I was living with my auntie. Love her to bits, but at that age I was able to pull the wool over her eyes a little bit. One of my good friends, Sonny Webster, he also went up to the same college.
The athlete,
the weightlifter, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So he was playing golf at the time, and he actually came up to the golf school. Also, he was off 3, so he's a handy golfer too. And he had an apartment in the middle of Bristol. So we had a great time. We were 16 and 17, and we were going to like university nights. Yeah, like I was calling up my aunt saying, like, me and Sonny have we have work in the next day. We've got a deadline, so I'm going to stay at his, and then we'd be out on the piss and having a good time. Yeah. But that really did prepare me for it, just going over there, because, you know, Bristol is a big city compared to Plymouth. And then moving over to America, I got a few of my bad habits out of the way in them 2 years. But it was, you know, America's a great place, but it's very, very different. Unfortunately, I had a drill sergeant coach that really pushed us hard and scheduled our lives in a way to where we couldn't stay out, and we couldn't really fuck about, really, because we were in the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we'd finish the day at 8, 9 o'clock. So we were pretty knackered most of the time, but that was what we wanted to do. It was great. It felt brilliant, just chasing the dream with a team around us. And then spring break came along in March. You know, Daytona was one of the homes of spring break. So we had 4 weeks of like a new group of people from around the country coming to Daytona.
Oh, mate. Did you have Tinder back then? There's no Tinder, was there? Didn't need it,
Didn't
probably.
need Tinder.
You're a handsome man.
Didn't need Tinder. You just go down to it. It was called Razzles in the day. That was where we went. That was the hunting
hey, mate,
ground.
What are you doing next March? Because I need a holiday.
I'm going to show you around.
Oh, mate, my missus would lose the plot. She'd fucking hate me. I love it though. Like, is it because obviously as a young British, English guy growing up, like we see American Pie and think, that's the way that university is out there, and it's not real life. But how like similar or dissimilar is it to that? Like, do you see that? Does it happen, or the frat parties and all that stuff? Like, is it like that?
I think it depends where you go. There are universities where it's that and more.
Okay.
There are universities where it's just like it is similar to that, and then there's smaller universities with frat fraternities and sororities that are a little bit more. They stick to themselves, really. They do have their parties, but it's not as crazy as American Pie for sure. But yeah, I would say that the being English part is huge over there.
I love the accent.
They absolutely adore it.
I can tell you cleaned up, mate. I can just tell it in your face, like.
Stop it. There's no such thing. I'd
be disappointed if you didn't, mate. Class. But that's what forms, So I had a conversation with someone the other day about like, would you change anything? I was like, no, like, why would I? Like, I've had lots of fun in various formats through my life, but it's brought me where I am now. And I've got a missus, I've got a little girl now who she was 8 yesterday. Like,
yeah.
But I've done all the stuff that I needed to do, so I don't still have to do it now. Like, if that makes sense. You see some people, like I'm 35, like you see some people still slamming that. And a few years ago, I probably still was before I met my missus now.
Yeah.
I was still a bit like that because it hadn't got it out my system. But actually now, I'm like, fuck, I don't care. Like, I'm not about nightclubs anymore. Like, what restaurant are we going to? Well, if we're going to go out, let's go out at 12, so I'm home by 10. Like,
yeah,
I can still get a decent night's kip and I'll be all right the next day,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I most definitely got it out of my system. I can tell you that. And I just, I mean, maybe I'm still getting it out of my system, but no, I don't drink anymore. I stopped drinking probably, pretty much my final year in college. I stopped, and I don't know. I just had enough of it, really. I mean, it's still a lot of fun, but I'm too busy, and I can't be arsed with the club life anymore. It's just once you've seen it and you've done it, and it's like, okay, I'm out of that now. And I'm just looking to really push on with my career, and I know that I've had my fun, and I know that it's got to the point where I look at the people in certain clubs and I think, I want to have that like level now. I want that now, and I need to get my life to where I want it to be able to really enjoy myself outside of that now, because I just think, you get one shot at achieving a dream, and this is my time to go ahead and do it. So I want to focus all my energy on that, really.
And it's nice to hear that that's because you want to do it, not because society's telling you that's how it should be, or social media. Because again, I feel like we live in this generation at the moment where everyone follows what we should be doing on social media, what we should be doing in the press. It's nice to go, actually, that's not for me. That's not who I am anymore. I've been there, I've done it. Don't get me wrong. If it was a stag do, I'm pretty sure you're a good 3-4 day
front and center.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same, mate. I'm never more than 3 hours away from being ready for a stag. Like, passport, I can get to London in 3 hours. Let's go. Like, exactly. But that's just for the occasions now, and we'll rev him up when we have to. Like, it's where before it was having to turn it down almost 2-3 times a week because it was just getting too much.
Yeah.
But I love that. Like, I suppose people say about age. It's not about age. I suppose it's about experience.
Yeah,
and actually finding what it is that makes you happy, and then just doing more of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I've only I lived in England now. This is the longest I've been in England, like I was saying. But I never really had a car. So the amount of stress that I used to put myself through trying to make it to nights, just to see the boys, to have the crack with the lads, and just to let loose and just I don't know, just have a good time. I used to get so many trains, so many buses, show up late. Like everyone knows me as being like, oh, Leon will just show up when he shows up. But everyone knows that I will be there.
Yeah.
Right? But I'll show up at my own time because I'll miss a train and then I'll have to run across town. And I've got no money. I'm broke. And then I'll show up and have the best time ever. But I've put myself through some serious stress getting to these nights. Yeah. It's all been worth it. But now I think it's just, you know, I'm too old to be doing that still. I don't really want to be putting myself through that stress because then it has a knock-on effect on my golf stuff. So I just want to make sure I'm taking my career as seriously as I can, really, because I've got a lot that I want to achieve over the next couple of years and into the rest of my career. So
golf, you know, it's one of those funny armchair supporter things where people watch the Masters, whatever, and like, can't believe he missed that. Golf is literally a game of millimeters, and like, I played for the first time since maybe August or September last week, and I'm not a very good golfer, but I can get around 18. I shot 98, and like for me, that's quite. For my aim is to shoot under 100.
Yeah.
When I go and play, like if I shoot under 100, I feel like that's pretty good for me. Yeah. But all these like armchair fans, like, oh fucking, so like when the Masters are on, everyone's tweeting, giving it the fucking big one. But it is such a frustrating sport at times that it feels like you do the same thing twice with two very different outcomes. Yeah. And it's like, if ever there was a sport where it's 10,000 hours to become elite at it, golf is it. Yeah. Like
what I found with golf, through my experience, is with most other sports, if you just work hard, you will get better. With golf, you can work hard at the wrong stuff and get worse. So you have to be like really diligent and like focused on what you're doing every single minute that you're out there, because if you practice crap for 35 minutes, you'll go out on the course and hit shots that you're just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, where's that from? And it can be as simple as, oh, I've been aiming right for the last day, or left, or my ball position's moved too far back or too far forward. And it's just little things that can create the biggest difference in golf. And it's a very mental game. So it's just not about go ahead and work hard and you'll get better. It's a lot more to do with golf, for sure.
And on that then, like, what is life look like for you? I don't know, like not necessarily day to day, but what does like a week look like, or a tournament week look like, where again we see on Sky Sports all the time what the elite 1% pros are doing, but no one ever really sees that level below where you're forging your own career. And you know, you mentioned earlier, like you're just coming to a stage where you're getting caddies now, and to me, like that should be normal, because that's all I ever see on TV. There's a caddy, and there's sponsors, and there's money, and there's prize money, and there's, I'm sure everything. If you're Tiger Woods or Rory, you're turning up to a course for 4 days or maybe a couple of practice days, but everything's laid on. What's it like for you getting from tournament to tournament, finding physios, caddies, whatever you need, coaches? I don't know. Like, tell me about
that. It's getting a lot easier now based off experience, honestly. I would say that traveling around China was very, very difficult, and definitely a very humbling experience for me, because it's a new world altogether, and trying to actually live over there and figure everything out was another deal altogether. But being the hardest place to travel ever, it was a good experience for me, and it's made this year and last year a lot easier. But typical week is, I mean, I'll show up at the course on a Monday, do a practice round, either a pro-am or a practice round on the Tuesday. And then, well, our tournaments this year are going to start on a Wednesday, and it's like a three-day event. So then you just compete, try and fit in a couple of gym sessions while I'm there, and then come home, do your washing. I mean, it's a lot of driving. Especially when you're traveling around here. So you drive home, try and see your coach, try and squeeze in all the washing you can, do a little bit of practice, do another gym session, and then off you go again. So it's flat out at the minute. And I'm also trying to finish a van conversion so that I can actually kind of live in that this season. Just to save money again, and to have a consistent place to live, and to be able to cook good food, because it's quite easy to just eat shit when you're on the road, because you're finishing your tournaments at 8 o'clock at night, finishing practicing late, finishing your practice rounds late. So you just go back to the hotel and you can't really be asked to do too much else. So you just end up eating crap. So having that van for me is going to be huge, because I'll be able to take meal prep while I'm home, take some good food away. I've got all my gym equipment in the back, and it's super cozy, and it feels like it's you know what it's like down in Devon and Cornwall. There's camper vans and people chilling, and I think it just aligns quite nicely with what I do and what I kind of like to do as well. So
it's a bit of freedom, isn't it? I mean, in South Wales, we've got not too dissimilar to back home. You're Brecon Beacons up there, and then along the coast, all the way to like West Wales. Some of the beaches are unbelievable, and loads of people I know have got either statics or motorhomes and converted campers, because you can literally just go 90 miles west, and you're on some of the best beaches in the world. I'm not even kidding; like, they are unbelievable, some of them.
Yeah.
So it's very similar, like South Wales and the Southwest in what they do, like, and that freedom, I suppose, like you said, saves you money, saves you time. Like I assume, and I only know this because we had a lady on before, Lydia Hall, who's a pro golfer on the female tour, the ladies European tour she's on, and she was saying that she obviously pays X, Y, and Z to go to Q school and then to go to these events. And some days, you know, she might only just be breaking even on an event and like, how are you supposed to like try and, because the money doesn't filter down. It might filter down the men's game, but in the women's game, it doesn't filter down. There isn't as much. It doesn't filter down as much. And so some weeks she's breaking even just to go and play in these tournaments, get the ranking points or whatever it might be. Like,
I mean, is
it the same for you?
It's $1,000 a week, pretty much, just to show up.
Is it?
So any money that you can save, because like it's very similar with the men's game at this level. I mean, if you win an event, and if you're coming in the top 5, you're making some decent money, but much past that, it's not great. You're breaking even. You're just fighting to try and get up the tours at this stage. It's like an internship. You're not living a glamorous lifestyle. Like in China, some weeks I was rooming with 4 guys, like 3 other dudes in a small hotel, guys that you've met and you've known for a month, and you're trying to go out and compete and play your best with all of that going on, just to save money, just so that you can keep the dream alive for another week. Because if you, it's ruthless. If you have like 4 or 5 bad weeks, then you just pissed away 5K.
And like, I think the average
people don't think about that, and people don't realize that.
I was just about to say,
especially with football and rugby and most other sports, you show up with me and you're good to go. Everything else is paid for. You've got no other stress. But with golf, you're there trying to do business on the side in your off weeks, just to try and get a bit more cash in the door, or get some more support, or, you know, do your own washing, just living essentially. And then you have to go away the following week, and you know, it's just, I love it. That's why I do it. But it's not the most glamorous lifestyle until you get to the top.
And sorry, how, like on that, how do you keep your, not physically fresh, but how do you keep mentally going? Because you have bad rounds, everyone does. You've won tournaments, you've come, you've done well, but you've also, if you don't place in the
Some
top
awful weeks, yeah.
Yeah, like how do you then say you've had an awful week and then you've got to go and share a room with four guys you don't particularly want to know, when all you want to do is just be on your own and your own beds and decent food and all those little minor stresses that the average person, as you just said, doesn't think about. Because when I see the Cardiff Blues rugby or the Chiefs, or I see football, it's all fucking looked after. Like, how do you get your mind right and not get down about it and keep going? Because mentally, you've got to be pretty resilient, I would imagine, to get through a career like that at your level at the moment, whilst also striving to get further up the chain.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fortunate in some ways that my dad's a performance coach, and he's worked in sport and in business for a number of years. So
yeah,
he's great to have in the corner. However, we don't really talk about that side as much anymore, purely because I always disagree or say, no, you're wrong, mate, fuck off. And he's my dad, so you're going to do that. So he's put me in touch with a couple of his friends, and some have worked and some haven't. And I found a guy now that he's the only guy on the planet that I can't pull the wool over his eyes. He knows when I'm being a twat, basically.
Yeah.
And calls me out for it, like my dad would. But I listen to this guy, and
do you mind that being called out? Do you take it on the chin and go, yeah, you are right? Not so much with your dad, but with this guy. Or are you the sort of person that goes, nah, fuck, and then 3 or 4 days later, you're like, oh, fuck, they were right. Like,
I'll have about 10 seconds of trying to defend myself.
Yeah.
Like, literally just 10 seconds. I'll look at myself and I'll be like, nah, but I'm working harder than you think, blah, blah. And then he'll just go, nah, mate, you're fucking playing at it. And I'm like, yeah, you're dead right. You're dead right. And I think it's, with me, I mean, effort's never the cause. It's never the on course or when I get to the course or any of that. It's more so just getting my lifestyle, getting my life to be as professional as I can off the course. So
yeah,
it's simple stuff. It really is just going to bed at the right time, eating the right things. I always train hard, but it's being diligent with everything and being very, very switched on all the time, because like I was talking about earlier with minor details like alignment and ball position, that they all seem to stem from off the course. So golf is very much like life, and if your life's if it's a little bit off the course, on the course it's just going to be exactly the same. So for me, it's being as professional as I can when I'm away from the golf course and actually away from the game, and like giving myself enough rest and not trying to cram all my friends in and trying to see everyone and driving around, just trying to see people, because I love to socialize. I love meeting people. I love that side of it.
Yeah.
But it's being a bit selfish at times, and I need to be a bit more selfish with my time and my energy, really, because it's not an easy game it's not an easy game, and you need to be mentally and physically on it. So
yeah, when you hit, it's such a weird game. Like, I don't know if some people look at, like, I don't know, Henry, for example, like, seems to have a world of it at his feet, but people don't see the stresses that he probably does go through, not being picked for the Lions. I don't know how he is as a bloke. Today's not about that, but he could take that really bad, or he could take it really well, and it could be a positive. But people don't see that side. They just see him flashes of brilliance and playing for England and stuff like. And they don't see you apart from those 4 days on the course if they're into golf.
Yeah.
The general public won't see what you go through to be able to go and try and perform from a Monday to, what was it you said, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So is it lonely? It feels like it could be quite lonely at times, but you're so social. Like, do you have that conflict? Do you find that hard?
So I've this is quite funny. So my birthday present last year from Henry's mum was from Henry, but Henry's mum told him to get it was AirPods.
Yeah.
So that when I get to the course, it's kind of like a fuck off to everyone else. Because I enjoy meeting people, like I said, and there's some cool people at golf, not many.
Yeah.
I don't really vibe that too hard with golfers in general, but there is some really cool guys out there. And when you form these little relationships, when you get to the course, it's like, oh, what's up, mate? How's it going? Have a little chat. And then you're trying to warm up, and some guys are still coming up to you trying to chat. Some guys are, and I don't want to be the guy that's a social guy on the tour. I need to be there for business, and that is key for me, because otherwise I'll waste 30 minutes chatting when I'm at the course, and I don't need to be doing that. So that's my side of it. I just need to stick my headphones on, and that's my little signal to stay away, really.
That's cool. You got a little trigger that that does that. Yeah. You know, when you're on the course and you hit like a sweet strike, or a drive, or I don't know, that 5-iron coming into the green, or whatever it might be like, and then say you're on the 18th, and that part you've obviously won a load of different tournaments all over. Like, what's that feeling like? How do you calm the nerves? How do you stay focused? How do you not run away with the emotions and overhit that last putt or that last chip onto the green or whatever?
Experience, mate. It's just you fuck up enough times that you learn how to deal with them situations. Because the first time I was ever in contention, I was nervous. I started playing faster. I wasn't breathing. I wasn't going through my full routine. It felt like the last 6-7 holes just flew by without me even realizing. And I was like, oh, it's over. It's done. Like, I've blown up here. So it's just experience, learning to just chill out, go slow. Like Tiger Woods talks about it. He feels like when he gets into pressure situations, everything slows right down for him. And I think that's the key, is just being patient, being just remaining calm, and then keeping your breathing at a similar rate, keeping your heart rate at a similar rate that it normally is. And also being aware of how you feel on the inside, because golf's one of them unique sports where you're not reacting. You're the person to pull the trigger, so you can choose when to hit the ball. So if you're not feeling good, if you have a bad thought that comes into your head, you can step off that shot and let it go, and then step back in with a better mindset and hit it. So having the balls to actually realize and have that self-awareness to realize how you're feeling at any minute, and knowing how to deal with it, really.
I wish someone tells me that when I'm on the course, because I've got a habit of like coming down to like your practice swing, and then you're down, you're about to, and then I'll change my grip just ever so slightly. I don't know why, but I'll just change, and I know I do it, but I'll just change my grip, and I don't know why. Just that little tightening or that little turn.
Yeah.
And then
makes all the difference.
Yeah, and it's gone. Like I'm bad for the like. Is it when it goes out to the right? Like, is that fading it or drawing it?
Slicing it.
Yeah. So I'm bad for that. Like, I don't finish through my shots properly.
Yeah.
But I know that I can't stop it for some reason. Like, I don't have that routine, and like you just said, I'll go through with the shot even though I know I need to pull out.
I still do, mate. Don't worry. It never stops.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
Never stops. It's a constant battle. That's the cool thing about golf as well. You will have as much frustration and enjoyment out of the game as I do. At times, you know what I mean? It's you're competing against the course, and you're competing against yourself, and you know what you're able to do. And that's a big thing for me. When I was growing up, and when I was playing like amateur golf, I used to look at all the names that were playing in competitions, and I used to worry about everyone else and what everyone else was doing. And you know, I was just jeopardizing myself, and I needed to realize that I have my own expectations. I know how good I am at the game. Let me just compete against the course and just make this about me and the course. Yeah. Because everyone else, they ain't thinking about me.
No.
You know, Tiger ain't thinking about little old Leon. That chop.
Cool if he was, though.
You know what I mean? So that was actually a really big thing for me over the last couple of years, is just realizing that you can do as good as you can do on any given day, and some days it's better than others. And as long as you're just giving it your best every day and just focusing on yourself, then you're always going to do you always do well. I think you always do better than expected.
This is going to sound like I could be talking bullshit here, so feel free to call me out on it, right? But I always feel that it doesn't matter to me how hard a course is, because that doesn't change the fact that I might lift my head, and then I'll top the ball or I'll thin it or whatever. Like, so you could put me on the hardest course in the world and I'll either hit the shot well or not.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do with the course. Does that make sense? Like, am I chatting shit there? Or because like some people go, that's a really hard, and don't get me wrong, narrow courses are obviously a lot harder because you will end up into the rough or into the trees or whatever. So yeah. I understand that, but like, you know, here we've got the Celtic Manor and the Vale and a couple of other real nice courses that we play now and again. It doesn't bother me which one it is, but some people are like, oh, I don't like that course. Well, yeah, if there's water and there's grass,
yeah,
me lifting my head is going to go in the water. It doesn't matter how well I hit the shot because I've lifted my head. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see it on the PGA Tour. You see it on all the tours. Players have courses. It's slightly different when you get to the professional level because you're playing for money. Yeah. So certain courses suit certain players and certain styles of games, and based off of that, you then choose your schedule and kind of say, "No, I'll leave that week because that course doesn't suit my game at all."
Okay.
But everyone's playing the same golf course week in, week out, so it's less about the golf course and more about just controlling yourself, making sure that you play well. You hit your shots that you hit, and it's not going to change. It's not going to change depending on the golf course.
Exactly. I feel like that, but then I always thought that maybe it's me that's wrong because people are saying this course is hard or that course is hard. Or I'm like, well, if you just hit it, I don't know, 200 yards straight, it doesn't fucking matter what course you're on.
No, it doesn't.
I just can't hit it straight 200 yards.
No, if you hit it straight and hit greens and putt well, then you can play anywhere in the world and play well.
Yeah, I know. It's weird, isn't it? I have these conflicts in my head when I'm playing, but I don't get annoyed. Like, we played the other day, and first time in, 6 months, like, I was just happy to be out with 3 of my mates, having a swing. We had a pint after, like, it was fucking lovely. The weather wasn't great. Like, it was grey, but it was dry. I fucking loved it. So those shit shots, I was laughing because I knew I'd lifted my head, or I knew I had tried to take the fucking welly it. Like, I tried to hammer it because I'm a big lump. I can hit it quite far without really trying.
Yeah.
So then when I was trying, it was like, fucking gone to, fuck. And everyone's laughing. I'm like, oh, fuck it, who cares? I could be stuck in work. Like, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
That's my approach to it anyway.
It's funny because so all of our friends played. Well, me and my brother, we've got like a similar friendship group, and all of the boys are starting to get really into golf, and a couple of boys that play other sports as well. And they're decent. They play off like 18 to 20.
Yeah, good.
If they don't have a perfect round, they're fuming. Like sulking after 3, 4, 5 holes, and then the game just goes to shit, all because they hit like one or two bad shots, and it's like, well, you're a crap golfer, so you're gonna hit bad shots. Like,
but that's good in my world. Fucking playing off 18 in my world is good.
Exactly, it is good, right?
Yeah.
You're out in a nice place, you're out in the nature, so just chill out, because you'll play better if you just chill out.
Yeah, I know, mate. It's weird, isn't it?
I have to tell myself this stuff as well. But
that's the great thing about like golf. You're not, when you are a rugby player, especially that professional, you've got analyst, skills coach, backs coach, attack coach, defense, scrum, There's always someone telling you the little 1%ers. But with golf at your level, and probably even a bit higher up again before the elite level, most of the time it's just you.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's reflection and there might be some proactive work you can put in, but on the course, it's you and it's the feel and it's, I don't know what you'd even call it like, but just that whole like aura of just, I feel like this is the right thing to do. And you just learn from that, don't you?
Yeah, you do learn from that. This year we've been using a stat program called Decade Golf. And it's quite a cool product really, because they've taken every shot that's been hit on the PGA Tour over the last like 10 years. And they've created like a shot pattern. So imagine, you know, when you shoot a shotgun and it splatters, like you've got the shot pattern, yeah? So it's the same with golf. So like my blueprint shot pattern will be different to someone else's. So like my misses would be like long left and short right, and it would be like a certain pattern, right?
Yeah.
And they've created this card and they've created this thing from every distance from like 80 yards down to like 240 yards. It tells you pretty much where you should aim so that your shot pattern never makes you hit it into a shit spot. So I've been using that, and that's like after the round, you can then like type everything into the computer. It's very easy to like input it, and then it spits out what your averages are in different areas of the game. So that's made that self-reflection be a bit easier and less ego driven, because I obviously think some things about my game, whereas like my brother, who knows my game better than pretty much anyone else, because he's practiced with me nonstop, he would say something else and make me look at my game in a slightly different way. I'd also tell him to fuck off because he's my brother, and we'd have an argument for a bit. But then he's the only person that maybe takes me a half a day to a day to be like, you're right. Yeah. But no, this stat program's brilliant, and it really has helped me kind of take a different stance on my game and my approach to the game also, because I like to go for it. I like to get the driver out and smash it and get it up near the green. That's my game. And going over to America, where you do hit driver a lot, to then playing in England where it's a bit tighter and a bit fiddlier, and driver's not always the choice. But I tend to like getting it out. I'm always being handcuffed into hitting irons and stuff.
Yeah. So. Where do we play? Celtic Manor, I think. And
proper golf course.
Unbelievable. I mean, I've played the 2010 Ryder Cup course a couple of times, but we played one of the other courses, and the weather was minging. It was horrific, like windy. So one of the guys, decent golfer, I'd say he plays off maybe 18 to 20, and he was like, just hit your 5-iron off the tee instead.
Yeah.
Hit you, and I was like, shut up, fuck it, mate. Transformed. It was the best golf I've ever played. Again. Honestly, so the other day when we were playing, one of my mates then was like horrific off the tee, you know, not past the ladies a couple of times, like pants down stuff, you know.
You get it out?
Well, there were people around, but pants down, pants down. And I was like, hit your 5-iron off the tee for the rest of the day, pal. He was like, shut up. I was like, genuine, like someone told me this. And he did it, and he was fucking class for the last, like, for him, like for the last like 10 holes. Transformed his game. So like it's ego. It is ego. Like
it is. I had it in my last event. I was playing a quite a short, tight course. My game. I've been switching club manufacturer, and it's been a little tricky getting used to the new stuff, and it's kind of messing with my ball striking a little bit. But once again, I was a little bit over par, and straight away I just was kind of like, fuck it, let me just get the driver and try and get it close to the green. And then you end up putting yourself in more trouble, because on the days where you're not hitting it well, and then you try and hit the shot that needs to be hit perfectly, but you're actually then getting your driver out to like bring that, to make it even more perfect, and then you don't hit it well, and you're like, so it just adds stress, and there was no need for it. Thankfully I've got a good short game and I'm a good putter, so it got me out of trouble a bit, but it's a learning curve and it never stops. And you know, the guy that I travel with a lot, we had a good review, and and you know, just got to be able to be disciplined in them situations and just go, I'm just going to get my iron out and give myself a chance at hitting the green.
Yeah. It's I love it. To be fair, I don't play enough. I need to get new clubs, so I've got probably 2 sets of clubs in the garage now, but they're all secondhand, ripped bags, and the clubs are all a mix of different ones. Like, who are you with at the moment, or clubs you got?
Just switched to Mizuno.
Oh yeah, cool. The hat, like. So, what's the one club, like, if I'm going to invest in a club now? What's the one club would you recommend to get a really class club?
It's putter and driver.
Is it?
Putter and driver. I mean, it's amazing, right? You hit the most shots with a putter.
Yeah,
the most shots every round.
For me, two or three a hole. Like, right. never won.
But no one ever invests in like getting a good putter fitting. Everyone just wants to run and get a driver fitting, because it looks cool, doesn't it? When you spank a drive miles, it looks
exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
But it also makes a big difference when you're rolling putts in from all over the green. But for you, I would say driver 100%. You need to get fitted, especially with technology these days. You need to get a good fitting because it's so specific and it can sort your slice out just from like changing one thing can sort your slice out, and you'll be hitting like tight draws, which you'll love.
I've got American Golf vouchers, see, so I'm like, right. No, honestly, so one of my friends had, is it? Because I've got a really old Big Bertha.
Yeah.
And then I think I've got an Odyssey putter, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember now. But one of my friends had, is it a Titleist? It was like a Mark II. And mate, I hit that so nicely. But then weirdly, I've got like an old Nike like 5 wood.
Yeah. And
I hit that off the tee more times than my driver because I find I can just hit it straight and more comfortable with it. Like, but it annoys me that when I look at golf, I'll look at the Tiger line and think that's the line I should play if I want to be a good golfer. So I'll do it, but obviously can't. But where everyone else then is using their recovery 3 shots a hole, I'm like, don't fucking do it. Like, that's not golf to me. Like, I want to play it the proper way, and obviously I get stuck. But
get your driver fitted for you, mate. That's the first thing, because I mean, the fact that you're hitting your 5 wood good suggests to me that your shaft is wrong in your driver, because you know you shouldn't be hitting 2 completely different kind of shapes with like the same swing, especially if you're not playing that much.
No, once a month maybe.
Yeah, so I'd get a driver fitting and get the shaft right, because the shaft makes the biggest difference in a club.
Does it? I wouldn't have a clue. Like, my missus is gonna love this when I rock up now with a new fucking set.
Yeah, new set. Leon said I could. Blame me. Sorry.
I'll put it on the podcast business now. No, I'll put it on the podcast business, isn't it? Corporate golf days, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck him. Don't worry about it. I'll get that done. I'll update you. I'm sure you can't wait to hear.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
I'll send you a video of my new one, first shot, right?
Yeah. And the picture of your missus' face when you walk in with it as
well. Yeah. I'll film it walking in. It's a present from me to me that Leon said.
Leon said I could do it.
Class.
Who the fuck is Leon?
Oh no, she just said who you got on today, so I was telling her then. I think it was like I was more excited that you were from Plymouth.
Yeah.
I was like a fellow Janner, like, come on.
A fellow Janner. There's not many of them that make it out.
Nah, and they normally got horrific accents, and me and you don't have it.
Thank God. Well, I wouldn't. Yours has gone a little funky.
Yeah, mine's
bit Welsh. Like
yeah, bit Welsh, and also weirdly, like, I'm an asshole, mate. My family live in New Zealand, so every now and again I just like, oh yeah, bro, like, just real nice, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I don't even live there. I've been there for like 14 weeks in my whole life, like.
Yeah.
And my accent's like a mongrel, mate. I just pick up all sorts of stuff.
It's a cool accent, though. It's a cool accent to be mimicking. So.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I felt if I could be anyone, I'd be maybe like a Samoan or a Kiwi, like a Polynesian. They're just cool, and they just sound cool. They're big and hard.
Yeah, man.
And I'm not. I'm fucking.
I'm just not.
I'm not. I'm white. I'm overweight. I got fucking double shit. Like, oh, I'm just shit. But
How's that
I'm
bike
happy,
riding
mate.
going though? That's sick, mate.
Man, it's tough, man. Like, it's all for a good cause, but it's boring.
Yeah.
You know, I find it really boring just sat on a bike. And like, I was, you know, a lot of these conversations, you know, we talk about like mindset and stuff, and it's the thing I'm struggling with most. My legs are dead, but they're just like that dull ache all the time. So there's not highs and lows where it's immense pain and then they're okay. Like I can get on with that.
Yeah.
But I'm bored, mate. Like I'm watching stuff on TV. I'm listening to podcasts, but you know, sat on there and I get through 10, 15K, but then it's like that next 30K. And then once I get to like, say 45K and I'm doing 60, that last 15, I'm all right again. Then I can pick up the pace again.
Yeah.
It's fucking tough, mate. Like I'm not built for endurance. You know, when I was a rugby player, I played 12 and I was just about like fucking having fun and chucking a ball around. I'm the sort of guy who would cross kick in his own 22 and just fucking, I love a Sunny Bale Catflap offload. Like that's where the name comes from.
Absolutely class.
Oh mate, I'm a renegade. Like I'm a bit of a cannon, you know. Like
yeah,
that's how
I bet the coaches loved you, didn't they?
Oh, some did because I'd bring.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I'd get that a lot. Like, but then if it pulled off now and again, they'd be like, "Fuck, fair play." Like,
yeah.
But I was never good at rugby. Like I didn't play. Like even when I left Plymouth Albion, you know, I played for the under-18s or whatever it was. I come up to uni then thinking, fuck, I play for Plymouth. Here we go. Mate, I got fucking smashed all over. The Welsh boys from the valleys are hard.
Yeah.
And I was a soft English kid who'd gone to a nice school in Denport High, and I got fucking beaten all over the shop, mate.
Yeah, fair one.
It was a learning curve. Like,
don't like this game anymore.
Nah, exactly. But then that's when you find women and beer, and you know, Cardiff's good for that. So
yeah,
I enjoyed myself. Let's just say all my mates ended up playing pro, and I ended up being.
And
like
you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah.
I'm in the team morale now, boys.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. What's the I feel like we're very similar in a lot of aspects, pal.
From the same place, mate.
Yeah, we're very similar blokes, mate. You've got a lot in common. What's the future for you then? Like, what does this year look like, and what's the, not necessarily the goals, but what do you want to try and get out of this year, and what does the next few months look like, and COVID and playing and all that stuff?
So COVID's not going to affect me this year, because I'm not going to be traveling too much. I've got full EuroPro season ahead, so that's 15 events. Then I've got just Clutch Pro events. So totally I've got like 28 events, but then I've got 3 Challenge Tour events, which are in between the European Tour and the tour I'm on right now. So
yeah,
you know, I've got open qualifying as well. So I'm every single week now until the end of November. I'm busy playing, which is awesome. But no, I've got like European Tour qualifying. It's one good week away. You know, you can play well at the right time of the year in this game and catapult yourself up into, you know, the spotlight really.
Yeah.
You saw Will Zalatoris, the blonde kid at the Masters.
Yeah.
18 months ago, he was like unranked. He wasn't on the tour. He was like lower ranked than the level that we're at now. And now he's top 20 in the world. He's like 24th in the world, I think now. So it's really cool that you're never that far away. Like at this level now, you're really not that far away. And you know, we could go out to the driving range tomorrow, and you could sit me next to most players in the world, like the best players in the world, and you would not see a difference.
Yeah.
And it's just them little 1%ers and almost just playing well at the right time to get you onto that level, and then you realize like, oh, these guys are it's just the same. You just play well at the right week and play well at the right time and try and be as consistent as possible, and you're making millions. You're having a great time traveling the world and living the dream. So would you still have your camper van then? Oh, 100%. No. I'd have a jet. No, I'm joking. I'll always be humble. Always be staying very, very humble. I think that's the cool thing about being from our neck of the woods as well. I mean, Henry hasn't changed at all. Jack Noel hasn't changed at all. They're all just the same lads. They just sound, off the rugby pitch. They've got the same insecurities, the same little smaller issues, but just the same lads. And I don't think I'll ever change. And I think because with golf, it takes you a little longer to actually reach a peak and actually to get out there, because the internship's very hard and it depends on financial, and it's difficult because there's not that many opportunities given to the good players coming up. So you live that lifestyle where you're rooming with 4 guys and you're struggling for so long that when you actually do hit the big time, like especially for me, I'm talking for myself, I don't give a fuck about money. You know, money for me is just going to make my life less stressful, and I'm just going to be able to do a few more things because it's me easier. But I'm going to sort the boys out. I'm going to sort everyone out. I just want to sort people out. I don't really care when it comes and goes. So it's never going to make me change as a person. I'm just going to have a really good time when I've got a bit more money, you know. And I'll keep the camper van as like an experience, a momentous, like, look what I did back in the day. You know?
I love it, mate. I fucking love it. Hey, look, fair play to you, pal. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing where you go this year. Like, I'll be heading straight to American Golf now in the next week or two. I'll be getting fitted out. I'll be sending you videos, mate. You can send me some. You can laugh at how bad I am. I don't mind that. But look, I'm coming down. I'm hoping to get down at some point over the summer. So if you're around, mate, we'll catch up. We'll get a bit of food and
we'll have a shandy by the van, and we'll get a game going.
Oh, mate, happy days. I'll bring my sleeping bag, pal. We can fucking watch the stars together, mate. Chat about Plymouth. I fucking love it. Hey, look, massive thanks, pal. I just want to say a big thanks to 45 CBD. They put us in touch to Dom and George. They're doing great guns at the moment. So fair play to the guys. If you want any CBD, head over to 45 CBD. If you use the code FLAP15, you can have 15% off as well. So on the website. So if anyone wants to get some, all capital letters, FLAP 15, you'll get 15% off. Big thanks to Tiny Rebel Brewery. They normally give us a load of beers for each episode, Leon, but today I literally got off the bike, had a shower. I was drinking a protein shake, which is so wanky, isn't it? Like, it's what a fucking loser.
Good man.
I'm getting back on the bike. So Tiny Rebel, they normally give us a load of beers. Head over to catflapchats.com. You'll find our sponsors, our back catalogue, some merch. We'll be bringing some more out. And head over to @catflapchats on Instagram or Twitter, where you can keep up to date with the 1,000 Miles in May Cycle Challenge, raising vital funds for Velindre. So, Leon, thank you so much for coming on, pal. You're a top bloke. Got a lot of time for you, mate. I'll be looking to see what you're doing and keeping in touch, boy.
Thanks very much for having me on, mate. It was a pleasure to be able to chat, and look forward to having a shandy or a few beers when you come down, mate.
Yeah, mate. Or like, even if I know Dom's.
I've got a tournament over in Wales. I'll send you over the date for it, because it might be somewhere near you. So it'll be good to meet up over there as well.
Yeah, classmate. Whenever I'm in Cardiff, so I'm literally within an hour of everywhere. So
cool.
I'll come and
stay off the beers that week, though.
No, mate, that suits me, pal. I'm trying to lose. I got a couple too many chins after lockdown, so I'm trying to trim up a bit, mate. So that suits me down to the ground.
Good man.
Hey,
cheers,
thank you for coming on, pal. You take care, all right? And I'll speak to you soon,
mate.
okay?
Legend. Cheers, mate.
Ta-ra, buddy. You take care. Ta-ra.
Bye-bye.